Honkai Star Rail is the latest game from the makers of Genshin Impact and Honkai Third Impact, with Genshin Impact have changed how mobile gacha games can operate, with their ability to create unique worlds or biomes that easily separate themselves from other gacha games quite well. Yes, you will have all those grindy parts at a certain point in the game, roughly around Trailblazer level 20, when it wants you to start getting into ascending your characters and light cones. The light cones are equivalent to your weapon slot. First, I'll show off how much I've actually done in this game to hopefully justify this review. Getting to Trailblazer 40s with no money spent, even speed railing on a different server. During the stream, I said speed railing once, and it caught on a bit for me, so I just kept saying it. Anyways, I guess the real first thing to get into is the actual menu system and how it is both similar and different from games of its genre. The menu, which is mostly your phone and icons on the hood, are what notify you of achievements or the battle pass, or there's just a bunch of random messages that'll give you side quests. And don't worry, my OCD self has to hit them every time they show up, or well, I'm not really going to get into all that, but I will get into how the usual gacha games will send my OCD driving to the maximum, as there are sometimes hundreds of things to do just in the menus before the game even begins. It's a shitfest of resources and currency that confuse the ever-living hell out of you right from the very start. Luckily with Star Rail, that doesn't happen to such an extreme, as they learn from Genshin that an overflux of currency can deter a vast amount of actual players from enjoying the game itself. You have to ease the player into the grind or they're overwhelmed by the experience, and that's going to be specifically said to the hundreds of mobile games I've uninstalled just because of that. I'm not going to name any of them, but they know who they are. With Star Rail, the phone is very simplistic in its design, and I'm perfectly fine with that over colors and lights all over the place trying to give me a seizure. That, and a scroll wheel to supposedly make it easier to navigate to certain menu pages. But the scroll wheel likes to open the page opposite of what I want. I'm sure it's just a bug because I do it really fast, but damn is it annoying as hell. Oop. God damn it. I'm like hitting buttons faster and it's like reading inputs, so it just like goes to one thing then the other, and I'm already like 3 steps ahead. Star Rail is not without the usual grind and a decent amount of resources though. The kicker here is to make the grind somewhat enjoyable or challenging, or make the grind as easy as possible and as fast as possible so the player can head back into questing and enjoy the story or puzzles. So when it comes to gaining the resources for upgrading your character, light cones, traces, or relics, so far it's very manageable, but if you look at how Genshin is set up, you have to wonder if they will go the same route, with gathering new resources with the latest update and characters. Hopefully not, and prioritize more fun puzzles or side quests instead. For now, you go to these flower bulbs or tougher enemies around to get what you need. Can easily teleport to whatever you want via this menu, whether it be upgrade material or gear. So that's a bug at the moment. I'm going over here to hit for the third one. See, watch me. I'm going to go over just one time, and it's going to go over to the enemy. It's going to do it too. Boop, boop. And it went over to the enemy for some reason. And then I had to hit left to go back to her, effectively. Just a little bug I found. Once you become familiar with what goes where, then it's quite simplistic in its structure to upgrade characters and attain resources. Just once you hit the Trailblazer 40 range, there isn't enough content, so it's nothing more than a grind to get extra characters up to max besides your main group. So let's get into the shop menu and what it seems to incentivize on buying. First thing, like always, is to get that monthly $5 subscription for the extra jade, and to pay for the battle pass each month. Outside of that, it just wants you to pay for more warps, or pulls. And $100 for only 40 pulls is a bit of a steep price for me. The whales can have their fun though.
You ain't getting it. You ain't getting nothing. You're gonna lose it 50-50. You're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose it. No! No! Please lose 50-50.
Yes, yes, yes. Knew it. I knew it. Let's go.
Please lose.
Let's go, boys.
Oh, you bitch! Lose! Oh, please.
There.
You, man!
I knew it.
You!
Who's mad? There it is.
I'm mad!
I can still manage to get the characters I like and use them.
Use it.
To beat the game just the same, so who's the real winner here? And this one is a guaranteed 5, so we do want Bronya and hope for that, and then want Seele, because that's probably like the ultimate 4-man team. What 5-star am I getting? Oh! Who is it? Oh, we got Gepard. Oh, it's not Bronya. Now, the gameplay isn't anything special per se, it's just that they managed to balance out and have fun making combos with the different characters. If you only look at one character individually, they don't show too much going on, but under the surface, when you combine healing, shielding, damage, and various forms of support buffs, they can come out like wild and make the true damage dealers hit like a fucking truck, or never stop attacking in a given turn. Where it shines the most is when it comes to being creative and keeping your attention. With varying side quests, a couple good, mostly quests, and many puzzles are sprinkled throughout locations. They are one of the only developers willing to have completely different kinds of puzzles and events, and if it's going to be like Genshin in that regard, it will be able to keep a person's attention when the new content drops. This one's pretty easy, you just need to line up the pieces correctly. Boom, boom, and they're all lined up. And then it makes the box done. These ones are even easier than the ones I brute force. When it comes to locations, the combat zones are set up to be a sort of mini dungeon, filled with puzzles, chests, tougher enemies, and some okay shortcut horde. That's a term coined during the Bloodborne days, as their shortcuts are the type to strive for in any game. Otherwise, I'm enjoying the layouts of these locations. They look good and don't overexert the amount of content per area. Though it would be nicer to know that the little piggy was a fleeing mega chest and have maybe its own icon on the map, just to know when it already popped in that location. It'd be nice, but it's not really a priority now, is it? I guess it's just, yeah, it's finding that little piggy somewhere. Yep, there it is. I have found you, little piggy. Well, how does this cel-shaded weeaboo game appeal to the player's eyes? I'd say it appeals quite well, considering it's quite popular at the moment. What I look for, though, is not the flashy lights and bright colors, but the structures themselves, how everything sits on top of each other, the bricks that create the locations, their styles per region, and what aspects look like real-world regions. Where in Belobog and the Jarilo 6 planet, it has a very Germanic and Russian feel to it all, and Xianzhou is clearly just spaceship China. The real question becomes if they follow suit like in Genshin and the next planet is going to be Japanese, and then you'll have a desert/jungle planet. Hey, if it works out, Star Rail might as well do the same thing as the other games they're making. There's a bunch of repurposed assets, especially in Xianzhou, as well as repurposed characters from other games too. It's not a bad thing either, you had to do that to a degree to save money in ways, and no one wants to pay for another fence model, when you can just change the color and warp it slightly.
Some so subtle you might not have even noticed, but your brain did.
The last bits here I want to mention are the Forgotten Halls and simulated universes. Forgotten Halls are nothing more than tough challenges that test your mettle, make teams that benefit from enemy weaknesses, and it's an easy win. The real fun is when you get into simulated universes. They challenge you with a bit of fun and luck in the mix. You'll take your team through various floors of enemies, and after each battle, you'll grab a card or cards that boost stats, abilities, give you crazy healing, or ridiculous speed and damage increases. On top of the nice rewards and Herda Eidolons, it's one of the systems in place at the moment that has the most replay value. Or, well, any replay value as a matter of fact. But at least it's a solid first one. I also hope there becomes less incentive to auto-battle the game as well. It's that aspect that makes it feel less like you are playing a game and more like watching a game being played out. Oh, that's why auto sucks. Because she'll just straight ult someone that's already half health when she could have ulted somebody that was full health, killed him, and then went back to that guy and killed him. Overall, I enjoy the way it's shaping up to look and excited to see where it goes and what events they have in place, as well as new characters and abilities and locations. When it comes to video game stories nowadays, I end up skipping through most of them, and the reason mostly for that is that I can figure out based on context alone of select main cutscenes to predict the future. And maybe it's my own bias at this point, but it's just not appealing to me anymore. It's all the same and based on patterns of previous works done by the same developers, and based around even basic storytelling, it all just feels the same. At this point, if I want a really good story, I end up reading a manga or manhwa instead. What a game really comes down to at this point for me is whether or not the gameplay is good enough for me to justify the willingness to grind as much as it is to upgrade and keep going for future content.
Upgrade is gonna kill me. He gets me when I'm a day late with his money.
It might be why I love the Soul series so much, is that the story is non-existent unless you really want to dig deep, but they also make the lore quite intriguing in the process with how little there is in comparison to Star Rail. In Star Rail, there are papers and documents and people all over willing to shovel exposition or random nonsense down your gullet. So there's no lack of story or lore if you're willing to search for it, and one thing I do appreciate is the option to know more information from a situation, or I can skip it and get going to the next task, even if I usually hit the optional option in the dialogue and don't end up moving forward in the conversation. Genshin has a real problem of allowing their cutscenes or expositional scenes really to just drag on to an extreme, to the point of being so bored that I want to exit the game instead and find something else to do. Usually if you want to keep someone's attention, too much dialogue will become a problem. Brevity is the soul of wit. There is a decent amount of voice acting involved still, even in the companion side quests and some random conversations in the parlor car. It's passable for what it is. I'm not looking for an Oscar-worthy performance here anyways in my anime waifu gacha game. At least the main character in Star Rail talks a bit more than the one in Genshin. That MC there becomes a wet noodle after a while with how little actual voice acting is done. But my biggest gripe is that there's not enough voice lines during combat. Now I can actually enjoy the music without all the voices. Man, turn the voices off for just the whole game. Screw it. Screw the voice acting. With that then, this is my take on not just Star Rail's story, but I guess stories in general now for video games specifically. I also don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but Kafka is a real Mikami of a character. In the future, I will have to come back and fully respond to its story as it's really unfinished and has very little in the grand scope of it all. So once it's more fleshed out, I'll give it the old college try then.
See if you can guess what I am now. I'm a Zit. Get it?
So the last thing to talk about now are the characters, and I'll go over a few aspects I find insane and some of the technical parts of them with upgrading. I have to talk about this though. Why is this little girl not wearing pants and shoes? They are in a place afflicted with a curse called the Eternal Freeze. Oh, that's not even the worst part of it, that this child is probably freezing her ass off. It's the fact that her guardian robot is wearing those same articles of clothing. Yes, I'll say that again. Her guardian robot is wearing pants and shoes, but yet refuses to find some extra clothes for this sweet little marshmallow of a character. Well, oh my god, no, she's crying. She doesn't even attack enemies directly, but uses her stand to inflict pain or shield her. This is probably the only child character I would absolutely want and enjoy using. A little girl stand user that uses a giant robot is a strong stand. No wonder she's a 5-star. To be fair, I guess, most of the characters in this region are ill prepared in their clothing for the weather. But still, at least get her some shoes, Farag. The only other character I really have a problem with is Bronya, and it's more so the fact that she has a void vagina. I don't know if she was censored or her outfit is bugged out, but you can easily see definable curves, but an ever-expanding black void the more you look at it. It's going beyond throwing a hot dog down a hallway. You have throwing a spaceship into a black hole level of jokes here. All in all, you have your waifus, normal girls, cat girls, mommy milkers. So it's covering all the different types nicely and not too crazy besides the stuff I mentioned. The Trailblazer has a fairly good design themselves too. I actually enjoy the female model a bit more than the male counterpart. It's mostly to do with just being a bit of a smartass of a character and also happy-go-lucky a bit. Plus, her smile is just better than the dude's. Their main weapon in the destruction style is nothing more than a metal bat. Who knows where the hell it came from because there hasn't been any mention of baseball anywhere else. It's also very eerily similar to the character Ichiban in Yakuza 7. His main weapon is a legendary bat he finds sticking out of the ground. The animations are also very similar, but you're not a cool guy unless you spin your bat around once before smacking someone right in the face or ass. Fuck it, I don't care what it says. When it does these fading black screens with the text, like, they drag ass on them, dude. It's like, oh my god, let me skip it. It's like, no, fucking read it. No. My final verdict of the game is that it's quite a solid turn-based RPG, lacking in a bit of content as of right now, but we all know a lot more is on the way. So if you wait a few months, the game will have plenty of content added in to get to or close to the ability of max level, instead of the usual wait of roughly 18 to 24 hours and then just burn Trailblazer power waiting for the next bit of story or event to drop. As it only takes about 15 to 20 hours to get through everything that's currently out and to get to Trailblazer 35. At that point, it's just the grindfest I was talking about earlier. You're also out of options to earn a lot of Stellar Jade for the warps, so unless you're asmongold here spending more than any person should on one of these games...
No, you don't need it.
Get one copy of the card, then do dupes. Okay.
No, don't. No,
I'll
don't.
do this one right now.
No, don't. You don't need dupes. You've already lost. You've already lost.
You never quit when you're losing. You only quit when you're winning. And you never quit when you're winning either because you want to keep winning.
You're not allowed to win. Please, no.
Got it. Got it.
You Asmon!
Oh man, so we got the, oh bro.
I hate you!
We got the weapon and the character? Did that just happen? Oh no, that didn't just happen, did it?
You are most likely only going to get a couple 5 stars to use, and in all honesty, it seems fair enough for the amount of content currently available in what is essentially still just a gacha game. I might not be able to get them all, but I was able to get Sela on my main account and the sub account on a separate server that I'm streaming. I got 2 polls. Oh, we got Sela first fucking poll of the day. And fucking Sela pops out. Ha! Damn. Well, we're switching out fucking Serval. Get the fuck out of here, Serval. Although I didn't get her on the Europe server, and after getting Yankin, I was disappointed and got demotivated to play that one. The only thing I wonder now is how far you can get level account-wise by using all Stellar Jade you get and converting that into Trailblazer power, instead of pulling for more characters and light cones. With that, let me know in the comments below what you think of the game and how it is shaping up so far. And to any of you reactionary folks out there making their videos off this one, get people to share, like, comment as well on this OG video. Much appreciated, and everyone, have a fine day. Taco out. The slowest 35 minutes on YouTube. Oh my god, dude, they feel like they're in slow motion. Like, they feel like they're floaty. Tutorial's pretty slow though, but once you get through the tutorial you can actually do the speed up function and it makes this game... Can I speed up yet? Hold on. I might be able to speed up. Oh my god, we can. Alright, now you guys are gonna see the real game. Now the real game begins. Look how much faster this goes.